It is April 15th, which means it is tax day. It is the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, but it is also Zero Heroes Day. So I look forward to April 15th every single year, not because it's tax day and not because it's the day that the Titanic sank, but for a couple of very personal reasons. It's a very special day for me. It's a day that I've been looking forward to ever since I was probably 15 years old. Now, why this day is so significant to me, I will explain very, very shortly, but I want to get out of the city so I can avoid all the lunchtime traffic.
Now I'm gonna say, let me tell you about 1253 battery. That'll just be optional. Let's pause for water.
Every time, you do it every single time.
Let me tell you about 1253 battery.
For his Instagram. All right, I'll see you later, Dawson. Take care. Thanks for coming by.
No, thanks for having me.
So now that I have got all the work stuff that I needed to take care of during the day finally out of the way, now I will explain as to why 4/15 is such a very special day for me. So in one of my previous videos, I talked about a significant event that happened to me 9 years ago, which was my very first concert when I went to go and see XV down at the Wrecker up in Towson. And that concert happened all the way back in 2011, just like 4/15 happening all the way back in 2011. And that day is so significant for me because it was sort of a mishmash of all these different things that all happened in one day for me that just made it probably one of the best days of my life. So in the spring of 2011, I was still a freshman in high school. I was 15 years old. I loved playing video games. My favorite video game was Call of Duty Black Ops. I loved listening to this guy XV, a rapper from Wichita, Kansas. Now, some other information, I was not doing very, very good in school. I don't know what exactly it was, but for some odd reason, freshman year was just a very, very difficult year for me in terms of schoolwork. I mean, it was much harder than all the work that I had ever done before. I don't know what it was. I just sucked at school at that time. So right around that time, it was the third quarter because in primary school, we do everything by quarters instead of semesters like I did in college. And it was the third quarter of my freshman year of high school. And I had been really busting my ass in school to get all of my grades up, to get all of my grades looking really, really good so that I didn't have any C's on my report card, so that I was just a straight A and B student here and there. I guess this is a little embarrassing, but at the same time, I really don't care. But basically, my parents took the Xbox from me, and they said, you're not going to get this back until you get your grades up, which is totally acceptable. It's totally fine, because let me tell you, and I guess as an adolescent, you know, video games, that's a huge deterrent from you wanting to do any kind of work, because you're just sitting there playing games. You don't want to do any work. So the quarter was supposed to end on April 1st of 2011, I think, because 2 weeks after every quarter ends, a report card is supposed to come out, which are basically your final grades for that quarter. So unfortunately, I had to wait another 2 weeks after the quarter even ended. And those extra 2 weeks ended up coming down to April 15th, which was the day that the report card was supposed to be released. So I waited very, very patiently for April 15th to come around so that I could show my parents, hey, I did great in school. But there were other things going on outside of me wanting to get my Xbox back. At that same time, I was really, really heavily into this guy XV, this rapper from Wichita, Kansas. So of course I'm gonna be like more into him now that I saw him in concert. I feel like the coolest kid ever because I saw my favorite artist in concert. So there was a lot of rumor and a lot of talk that XV was going to be releasing a new mixtape right around that time, and the mixtape was teased here and there, but I never heard any of the songs off of it. Then finally, one day towards the end of March or beginning of April that year, he announced that he would be releasing a mixtape on April 15th of 2011, which was the same day that I was getting my report card back. Now, April 15th was going to happen on a Friday, and that Friday was also the due date of a lot of really big assignments for some weird reason at the beginning of the quarter. One of the biggest assignments was this biology lab report that I had to type up on human evolution, which was an absolutely insane lab that we did in that class. We spent probably 2 weeks working on this thing, and my teacher, Miss Chillingarian, reminded me that this was going to be one of the most difficult assignments that I was ever going to have to complete for her class. Now we're already at the week of 415. It's getting ready to be report card day. The report card's going to come out. The mixtape's going to come out. I have this big lab report due, and on top of that, I had a chorus concert. Yes, I used to sing in high school. I can't sing anymore. Trust me, I've tried. You don't want to hear it. But I had a chorus concert that Thursday night, and I was still barely even finished that lab report. So when I got home from school that day, I put in work on that paper. I read all this different literature. I cited all my notes. I did all this work to try and bust out that lab report before I had to go to the concert. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it before I went to the concert, and I didn't end up getting back from the concert until like 9:30 that night, and I still had a little bit of work I needed to do on that assignment. So I ended up crushing in about maybe 2 more hours on that assignment, and this was the very first time I stayed up until maybe 12 o'clock working on something ever, just to get it done, just to make it perfect, just to make it just right for this one assignment. And then finally I go to sleep that night with all kinds of nerves, all kinds of just different feelings going on, thinking, okay, 415, that's gonna be the day. That's gonna be the day that you get your Xbox back, the mixtape comes out, you turn in this big assignment that you hopefully crushed, and that's it. This is the day, Mark. This is your day. I wake up the next morning, I'm feeling good. So the day progresses, it's pretty much almost over. I go to biology, I turn in that big paper that I had spent a lot of time working on. Felt great to finally just turn it in, just to get it over with. Then the end of the day approaches, I get my report card from my homeroom teacher. All A's and B's, no C's, nothing below a B. Totally knocked that thing out of the park. I was so eager to get home and just show it to my parents so I could get the Xbox back. I just couldn't wait to get on the bus. Then I finally get on the bus, go home, feeling pretty good, hand the report card to my mom. She was super happy about it. She was super blown away. Sure enough, I got the Xbox back. And then I went straight onto the computer, went straight to datpiff.com. Yes, datpiff.com. That's actually where I went to get a lot of my music back when I was 15 years old. No joke. So I got onto datpiff.com, searched for the mixtape. Sure enough, it's up. XV's new mixtape titled Zero Heroes was out on 4/15, and I downloaded it immediately, put it onto my phone, went right up to my room, and I listened to the whole thing. I just hung out, just chilled, jammed, and I just listened to it, almost like how I guess some of our parents would listen to vinyl records back in the day, and they would just listen to the records and just really not do anything else. That's pretty much what I did. I sat right on my bed, and I just listened to it without a care in the world. And every single song I just fell in love with. I thought it was the best mixtape ever. It was worth the wait. It was worth everything that went into building up to that moment to get that mixtape. As soon as I was done listening to it for the very first time, I went right downstairs, plugged in the Xbox, put in Black Ops, played a really good round of Nazi Zombies, and I listened to the mixtape all while I did it. But the day does not stop there. My buddy Ian, the guy who was in the vlog yesterday, he actually hit me up and asked me if I wanted to go see a movie, and we decided to go and see that movie Insidious. And at the time, I didn't really think much of that movie. I didn't really know a whole lot about it. Now, I know that that movie has caught a lot of flack for it being nothing but jump scares, much like a lot of horror cinema nowadays, but that movie legitimately scared the hell out of me. I cannot tell you how many times I jumped, how many times I actually screamed, and how many different colorful words I said. Now, I am a firm believer that that movie has psychologically scarred me, because I cannot sit through that film by myself. But then as soon as the movie was done, Ian and I went out, got some pizza, and then I went home and I fell asleep that night, still a little terrified from the film, just thinking that was probably the best day of my life. April 15th, 2011 was a day where really nothing went wrong for me. It was a day that I finally got proof saying that I got my stuff together with school. It was the day that my favorite mixtape by my favorite artist ever had been released. It was the day that I saw a movie that has probably psychologically scarred me for the rest of my life. As for that lab report that I had been working so hard on the night before leading up to April 15th, turns out I actually got 100% on that lab report, and it was worth a big, and I mean a big chunk of my final quarter grade in that class. And on top of that, I even got to share part of that day with one of my best friends growing up, Ian, who still to this day is one of my best friends. So in the years after that, I always recognized 4/15 as being a really special day for me. It kind of became this personal holiday that I like to celebrate with myself, where I'll go back and I'll listen to Zero Heroes, the mixtape that XV put out all those years ago, and where I'll sit down and I'll play Xbox and I'll play a quick round of Zombies, But those two things of playing that video game and listening to that mixtape are two of the things that I try to do on this day that help take me back to April 15th, 2011. I know that outside of myself, there's a lot that is associated with April 15th that doesn't really make it a good day. But for a 15-year-old kid who lived that day as one of the best days of his life all those years ago, it was a very special day for me. And it still is to this day. It just sticks with me. Now, I haven't listened to the mixtape yet today. I have not yet played Call of Duty, but we're going to fix that. So I ended up swinging by GameStop, and I ended up buying a 360, which was the same exact Xbox that I had all those years ago. And I've had this for a few years. I've been looking forward to this all day, let me tell you. Okay, this is it. This is our round. Now just gotta fire up the mixtape. Now we're good. No! No, no, no! Oh, crap. Oh, man. I didn't even finish the mixtape, but I only made it... I made it to the last song on the mixtape. And I survived 21 rounds. I don't even know if I recorded that, but oh man, I made 21 rounds. I wanted to make it to the end of the mixtape, and I made it just to the last song of the mixtape. That was a rush I cannot even begin to tell you. I'm surprised that I made it past round 10 because I haven't played this game since last April 15th. Oh man, but God, that feels so good. It just feels good. It feels great to play this again. It feels great to listen to this mixtape again. And for a second there, it kind of just took me back, which is really what this is all about, which is one of the reasons why I really do this. This has been a really good tradition for me, but now unfortunately I have to get back to the real world, and now unfortunately I have to get back to work. So, with that being said, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Please like, share, and subscribe. Happy 4/15, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.